All right, this is number 5, I think. Who cares? Point of the matter is now I've showed you what I look like all over and everything else, and the shock is gone, and you can see now that I'm a good deal different than I was. And I want to get into the post-surgery thing because the whole reason you're watching this is to find out, well, gee, what is it like and everything else. The whole process, with the exception of the insurance portion, the cash portion, where I just paid to have them do the surgery, was fantastic. My doctors, Dr. Marcia Jacobs and Dr. Eddie Gomez, were just down in Miami, South Miami. It's not a commercial for them, but I guess it kind of is, because I recommend them highly, and I want to do that because they were just wonderful, you know. Both information beforehand, realistic expectations, and that kind of business, and they did wonderful, wonderful work, and everything went just exactly the way they said. It's really, really hard the first 6-8 weeks or so after the surgery, because you know you can't have anything but liquids, you know, and for the first 2 weeks it's like clear liquids, and then for the second 2 weeks it's you can have a color in the liquid, and then you can move on to something that has like Jello or pudding or something like that, and then you get it to where you can eat like mashed potatoes or whatever. And so the first 2 months right after the surgery is really, really hard, but it goes by really, really quick. So hey, you know, no harm, no foul, and it's a very, very small price to pay for the result. I'm just as happy as I could possibly be. There were some miscalculations. I think I promised you that I would be gorgeous again, and there were some factors I didn't include. Remember I told you I was at 6'1", 225 pounds. I was gorgeous, you know, and I was, you know, 30 years ago. But now I'm 59, and one of the things that you need to factor in as far as your expectations, depending upon your age and your sex and your general overall size and everything else, you got to factor in a few other things. I didn't become young and gorgeous again, actually, largely because I have 59-year-old skin. Turns out that's a huge factor. You know, when I was 20 years old or 30 years old, I could grab my skin and it would snap back, you know, bing, you know, and it would go. Now, it doesn't do that anymore. I'm not going to show you because it would creep you out, but if I could pull my skin out, like, and then let go, and it just stays there, you know what I mean? And that's bad. And the downside of it is I've got all this implacable skin and old, like, fat, you know, and around my, I'm not going to show it to you because it's embarrassing. But I'm going to ultimately, I believe, have to have that hacked off, you know, and it's a surgery called uplift or body lift, I think, and you know, they get you naked and they yank down your shirt and they pull up your pants and they clip all that together, you know, and they cut off all the excess, kind of like, you know, going around a pie, you know, you cut off the extra dough. It's all pretty gross and it's supposed to be monstrously painful and probably expensive. But, you know, I'm going to do it, you know, later. Anyway, but what you need to know is that, and this is really important, a lot of people, they make you go to a psychiatrist if you do the whole thing on insurance, because they want you to understand that, like in the case of this, I have a bit of a cold. In the case of this surgery, it's not like gastric bypass. You can really kind of get around that and go back the other way, or even have it reversed surgically if you want. Lap band, same thing. You know, that's reversible. This is not reversible. This is not reversible. You know, you've got this little stomach that's left after they clip off all the big part, and the part with the hungermonium in it, the ghrelin, and you can't go back again. It doesn't stretch out. And when you do get to eating, you can only eat like about the size of a deck of playing cards, maybe. That's about all you can eat at one time, and it's quite some time before you can stand to eat again. Now, as time's gone by, 2 years later, I can eat like maybe 2 decks of playing cards at one time, but it's still an awfully small amount of food. And so here's what you need to understand. You'll say, and people say this to me, don't you miss being able to, you know, saddle up to a big old pile of ribs from Shorty's Barbecue down Miami Way? If y'all haven't ever been there, it's just fantastic. Or Hog Body's wings, you know. over in Fort Myers. That's another place. Oh, goodness gracious. If you can't finish eating that, you just want to rub it in your hair. It's so good. And don't you miss that? I do. I miss it massively. I want to go, I go fishing a lot. Not in Afghanistan, but back in Florida. And I go fishing a lot, and I want to, I have big fish fry and shrimp. We get shrimp from the shrimp boats down the dry Tortugas, and I miss that. I really, really do. You know what I don't miss? I don't miss the way people look at me. I don't miss the way they, talk to me. I don't miss having to put on my shoes over in a special corner of the special corner. There's a lot of special corners, but having to wedge up against the wall or something and horse my leg up there and get out of breath tying my shoes. I don't miss that. I don't miss circling around the grocery store parking lot a whole bunch of times, looking for one parking spot closer so I don't have to walk quite as far, and then going in the grocery store to get a single bag of coffee or something, and I have to get a grocery cart for that one thing of coffee because I have to have something to lean on. I don't miss my grandkids, coming up and going, Grandpa, throw me into the air, because they're really cute and they do that. They say, Grandpa, throw me up in the air, and then you want to do that, and I can do it about 2 times, 3 times, and Grandpa's going to have to take a nap for about 12 hours now. I don't miss not being able to walk any distance at all and hobbling and horrible, horrible, horrible feeling. I don't miss going to the beach, and people coming over with buckets of water. Keep your skin moist, drag you back into the surf, save your life, and, they always feel good about themselves. I swim out beyond the waves in a happy fashion and catch a fish, and you saved me, and they feel good about themselves, and they all go off and have sex. I bet, probably. But I don't miss so much of what it was, and you'll have your own list, but it'll be remarkably similar to mine. I have no doubt about it, and I can go on about a lot of other things. You just sit and think. I don't miss buying my clothes from an online tent maker, and then trying to find, why don't they make clothes that make 400-pound guys look good? Well, because 400-pound guys can't look good under any circumstance. It's terrible. So I don't miss any of that. I can get on my bike now here and at this particular military installation in Afghanistan, and I can ride indefinitely, and I do. And I can work. I can last all day long. I'm not out of breath. I can snow ski again, and I can do all kinds of things, and it's a whole new life. And I just have to tell you right now, I just can't emphasize this enough. The only thing you're going to miss is being able to, horse down all this food. Now, I know that's no small thing. There are people who've had this surgery and they put a gun in their mouth. And that's the truth. They really have. Because us fat folk, remember, like I said before, Paul Simon said that, after changes upon changes, we are more or less the same. I'm still a fat guy inside here. I'm all those things that may be a fat guy, this obsessive oral thing, and you're not, that part's not going to go away. You feel depressed. Well, you better eat something, and you eat something, you maybe feel better. Then you're depressed more because you ate a whole cake or something. And you feel depressed about that, so you eat another cake. You get a big income tax check back, and you're going to celebrate. You eat a cake. Or Kentucky Fried Chicken, the original recipe, that's the best one because it's greasy and so good. And that's how you conduct yourself. So I don't want to underestimate that. It is something that, you're never going to be able to do again. You're never going to be able to do it again. You're never going to be able to do it again. It's important that you understand the gravity of that. But it's great. Now, I have a terrible diet now. It's an awful diet. It's junk. Here in the chow halls in Afghanistan, God bless their little hearts, they try to make it nice, and that sort of thing, But my theory is they have one common substance, like I'll call it squaz. They probably have another name for it that I can't say here, but in any circumstance, it's almost as though they just mold it differently, today, what's at the chow hall today? Well, they've molded the squaws to look like ribs or chicken, and they've molded it to look like some green beans, and they've molded it to look like some mashed potatoes. So I generally eat at the breakfast, because then breakfast, you can't screw that up. It's bacon and hash browns and all this high fat stuff, and I can eat like a little hash brown and a few pieces of bacon and some coffee. And then at lunch, I'll go get lunch at the chow hall. And then at night, I have things I get from the PX, or my son or my daughter mail me things. And my nephew, Mike, he sends me a lot of stuff. And I have a horrible diet, terrible diet. I still lost 190 pounds. You know what I mean? And I'm still losing. And now I've only just decided that, well, you lose muscle, by the way. This is another point. I didn't have the discipline to do this, but if you can, you will lose muscle at the same rate that you lose fat. So you wind up being just skin and bones and hanging there. That's bad. So I've got a gym that I've built into my room here. I'm gonna give you a tour of the room later so you can see the truly brilliant things that I've done. And my dumbbells are on the way. I'm very excited about those when they get here. They should be here next week. And everybody around here, all these Marines around here, I'm here around with a bunch of Marines, and that's all they do is they work out. They're all, ripped, and anyway, they want to see me get ripped, and so they're all exercised to come and show me how to become gorgeous. So, again, I'm not young and gorgeous, so you got to calculate that. You got to put that factor in there, depending upon your age and your circumstance. Another thing I want to caution you about is it's more dramatic with me because I was 6'1", 400 pounds. If you're a little 5-foot woman and you're what would be obese? I don't even know. 180 pounds, 200 pounds, or something like that. There's a little woman, 250. I don't know what it would be, or what you would want to become. You got to be thinking about how many calories it takes to maintain a certain amount of weight. At 210 pounds, which is what I am now. It takes whatever it is, 3,000 calories, 3,500 calories a day. Don't hold me to that, but it's like something like that. And so that's really quite a lot of food, where if you're a 5-foot woman or a small guy or something like that, and you want to be at 100 pounds or 110 pounds or something, it's going to take one heck of a lot less calories, and your mouth ain't any bigger than mine, or smaller than mine, I mean to say, and so you're going to have a little harder time at the backside, at the end of it, but you'll still see the massive weight loss of the bulk of it. Beauty of that is you don't have ghrelin being produced in your stomach, so you're never hungry, and that's helpful when you're trying to use a little discipline at the end. But again, I wanted to give you the post-surgery thing. I want to do the next installment because I think these installments, these are YouTube things, and you can download just so much at one time. So I want to stop, and then when we come back, I want to talk to you about the actual surgery itself. And I think I have some pretty strong insights into what you could expect, and the avenue you may choose to do it. Okay, so. You know what I mean? Yeah.